it is crunch time for families right now. They're busy preparing for the first day of school, which is now just days away.
Yeah, but in the middle of the madness, with time running out, it's important to remember to take a break. The upcoming book, Permission to Rest, is a call to action for everyone to pause and look inward. The author is joining us now to talk about how rest can support the back-to-school transition. Ashley Neese, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so many of us New Yorkers are always in go mode. Now, some people are afraid to kind of slow down because they seem to think every second counts. How do you get someone with that type of mentality to take a break?
I love this question, and in thinking about this, really thinking about if every second counts, then what I want to offer, if taking just a couple of moments to rest can actually make those seconds more enjoyable, more meaningful, and more connected to yourself and to your kids.
All right, well, you have some tips, important tips for families as a whole to take a break, and we're starting with a hard one. These devices, we got to just leave them aside. How does that help, and what are some alternative ideas?
So putting down our devices creates the potential for nervous system regulation, more focus, and connection. And so when we're looking at connection, when we put down devices, that offers us as parents an opportunity to really be present with our kids. And some alternative ideas to putting down devices could be spending time in nature, cooking, doing art projects, even listening to relaxing music as a family can be so restorative.
Okay, you also say being outside helps, but it's more than just connecting with nature. What do you mean by that?
So being outside really helps. So it's really getting into the activity. So that could be, getting your hands in the dirt, doing a little garden. It could be going to visit animals. It could be, bird watching, anything like that that's really getting you active in nature. One of the things my kids and I love to do, we love to go and sit with our backs to a tree. Just something you can do for like 2 minutes, and it can be so restorative, and it's so fun for the kids.
All right, so back to school, it basically spells the end of summer, but it doesn't have to be the end of fun. How do you keep the party going in the midst of all the schoolwork and getting back into a routine?
Well, one of the things I love to do with my kids is do a practice for my book called I Feel Rested When. And a lot of the practices in the book you can do as play for kids, and even older kids love this. And so, for example, we can be out in nature and say, okay, I feel rested when, I have my feet in the grass, or I feel rested when I look up at the clouds. And those kind of games can be done inside and outside and can be super fun for kids and a great way for them to engage with rest practices and get more in touch with their bodies.
Okay, so more schools are adding something called mental health days for students. Is that something that would be helpful, and why do you think so?
I think it would be super helpful. I am actually a mom with 4 kids under 5 right now, so I could use the days I need. And I think it would be so great because so many children and students are just suffering from so much stress in so many different areas. And so I'm a big proponent of mental health days and think more and more schools should be adopting that.
All right, so you mentioned you're a busy mom, and sleep is something you probably find hard to have, but it's so important. How do bedtime routines impact our ability to rest during the day?
So this is such a great question. So returning back to school and routines and all that can just be so much. It's a lot to deal with. And so one thing I always want to say is try, and it's always with that caveat of just do the best you can. There's no hard and fast thing here. It's not about beating ourselves up and feeling bad when we don't get it right, but just try to have our kids go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. Because what that does, it helps them set their body clock so that they get into a rhythm. And the cool thing about that is the more we do it, the more our children can fall asleep easier at night. And then they actually wake up feeling more refreshed in the morning, which makes morning routines so much easier.
Yep, something I actually practice myself. Okay, so your last tip is all about multitasking. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that as a parent, especially a parent of so many kids, multitasking is tough. I think that we as parents have to multitask a lot of the time. And so what I suggest to clients is try to find moments throughout the day with your kids where you don't have to multitask. It's not about doing one thing just doing one thing at a time all the time, because that's not realistic. But for example, when we're cooking, try to just cook. When we're helping our kids with our homework, try to just be engaged in that activity. And if you can pepper those moments throughout the day, you're going to have a lot more connection with yourself and your kids, and it's going to feel more restful.
All right, Ashley, we applaud busy moms like you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
And if you would like more wellness tips or to pre-order Permission to Rest, you can follow Ashley on Instagram at Ashley_Neese. Pix 11 News has you covered for back to school, from shopping to mental health. You can find all of our content at pix11.com/schools.